This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. And now, let's just be honest. The shakedown, that's exactly what it is. The shakedown is exposed, people. Come on. And the evidence comes from the Republicans' own witnesses. The former envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker, who resigned just one day after the release of the whistleblower's report, telling the president's defenders exactly what they did not want to hear. They called him, apparently expecting him to say what he said in his closed-door testimony, that he saw no evidence of a quid pro quo, or let's call it for what it is again, a shakedown. Well, now he says he was wrong. He was out of the loop. He didn't know Burisma meant Biden.
Since I gave my testimony on October 3rd, a great deal of additional information and perspectives have come to light. I've learned many things that I did not know at the time of the events in question.
So now he knows the shakedown involved digging up dirt on Joe Biden.
In hindsight, I now understand that others saw the idea of investigating possible corruption involving the Ukrainian company Burisma as equivalent to investigating former Vice President Biden. I saw them as very different, the former being appropriate and unremarkable, the latter being unacceptable. In retrospect, I should have seen that connection differently, and had I done so, I would have raised my own objections.
That's complete 180. Volker's testimony revealing the corruption was within our own administration. And the president's defenders probably did not want to hear Volker singing the praises of Joe Biden.
As I previously testified, I have known Vice President Biden for 24 years. He is an honorable man, and I hold him in the highest regard.
So like I said, that was the Republicans' witness. And then there's a former NSC official, Tim Morrison, who lays out the whole thing, the whole sordid shakedown, one simple sentence.
What did Ambassador Sondland say to tell you that he told Mr. Yermak?
That the Ukrainians would have to have the Prosecutor General make a statement with respect to the investigations as a condition of having the aid lifted.
Okay, so let's remember, Gordon Sondland is testifying bright and early tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. And if he has learned anything from the testimony so far, like I said just moments ago, he'd better be prepared to tell the truth. In the midst of all of this, Congressman Jim Jordan, who was put on the Intel Committee specifically to be the Republicans' attack dog, seems to be doubling down on his strategy of yelling. I should point out that yelling doesn't mean that you've uncovered grave wrongdoing. It just simply means that you are yelling.
That's the sad thing. People like Ambassador Volker and Tim Morrison, who have served our country so well, are now stepping out of our government because of what these guys are doing. And that's why Mr. Turner got so fired up a few minutes ago, why I'm so fired up too.
Just the yelling. I said Gordon Sondland should be prepared to tell the truth in his testimony tomorrow. Well, I just want you to take a look at this picture. So 7 witnesses so far standing up, raising their right hands and swearing to tell the truth about the administration they serve. That takes courage. Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, a decorated Army officer whose family came here from the Soviet Union 40 years ago, giving a message to his late father who brought the family here.
Dad, I'm sitting here today in the U.S. Capitol talking to our elected professionals is proof that you made the right decision 40 years ago to leave the Soviet Union and come here to the United States of America in search of a better life for our family. Do not worry. I will be fine for telling the truth.
You'd hope that he'd be right. And then you learn that the Army is now providing security assistance for him and his family. And then you learn a short time after Vindman said that, this tweet, an attack from the White House Twitter account, taking another clip from Vindman's testimony and using it completely out of context. The president himself retweeting it.
When you went to Ukraine for the inauguration?
Correct.
On the 20th. At any point during that trip, did Mr. Daniluk offer you a position of defense minister with the Ukrainian government?
He did.
And how many times did he do that?
I believe it was 3 times.
Well, what the president and his White House left out is what happened next. Lieutenant Colonel Vindman clearly testifying under oath. He dismissed the job offer, reported it up the chain of command, and didn't even take it seriously.
Do you have any reason why he asked you to do that?
I don't know, but every single time I dismissed it. Upon returning, I notified my chain of command and the appropriate counterintelligence folks about the offer. I'm an American. I came here when I was a toddler, and I immediately dismissed these offers, did not entertain them.
Isn't it interesting? White House left all of that out. Left it out because it was a deliberate effort to give you the false impression that Lieutenant Colonel Vindman was somehow in cahoots with Ukraine. And yes, the old dual loyalty slur applies here. Some Republicans shamefully even trying to turn his military service against him. Ranking member Devin Nunes failing to call him by his rank and getting quite the clapback.
Mr. Vindman, you testified in your deposition that you did not know the whistleblower.
Ranking member, it's Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Congressman Chris Stewart actually going so far as to question why he was wearing his military uniform, even though it is not at all unusual for military officers detailed to the NSC to wear their uniforms for congressional hearings.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, I see you're wearing your dress uniform. Knowing that's not the uniform of the day, you normally wear a suit to the White House.
And then there's this from the president this afternoon at the White House.
I don't know him. I don't know, as he says, Lieutenant Colonel, I understand somebody had the misfortune of calling him Mr. and he corrected them. I never saw the man. I understand now he wears his uniform when he goes in.
One of these two men, okay? One of these two men, the president and Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, earned the right to wear the uniform of this country as he sees fit. One of these two men devoted his life to duty and honor. One of these two men still has shrapnel in his body. Compare that to the military service of the president and his chief defenders, Congressman Devin Nunes, Jim Jordan. Oh, right, none of them has served. One of them has bone spurs. They feel free to spout debunked conspiracy theories that Ukraine was behind interference in our 2016 election, not Russia. Though our own intelligence community says, without question, it was Russia.
Colonel Vindman, are you aware of any evidence to support the theory that the Ukrainian government interfered in the 2016 election?
Congressman, I am not, and furthermore, I would say that this is a Russian narrative that President Putin has promoted.
A Russian narrative that Vladimir Putin has promoted. And these are members of the intelligence community spouting nonsense. Out of everyone in Congress, they really should know better. They're the intelligence community. Let's face it, let's face it, they do know better. They know. But instead of admitting the truth, the consensus that our intelligence agencies share with high confidence that it was Russia, not Ukraine, that interfered with the 2016 election, we get nonsense about TV ratings and drug deals.
Well, Ambassador and Mr. Morrison, I have some bad news for you. TV ratings are way down. Way down. Well, whatever drug deal the Democrats are cooking up here on the dais, American people aren't buying it.
Worried much? Worried that the first witnesses called by the Republicans aren't exactly saying what you want to hear, what you want them to say?